Why do seagulls live by the sea? Because if they lived by the bay, they'd be called bagels. I know. Too funny, guys, too funny. All right, let's start today's lesson. Lesson 15. We are gonna dive straight into our learning target. So prepare your bow and arrow. I can identify the topic sentence, details, and a conclusion in a paragraph. Awesome. So let's take a look at this paragraph that we've been working with. Feathers, right? Feathers. Feathers is our title because it is at the top of the page. It's in a different color and it's a little bit larger than the rest of the text. Feathers. Birds' feathers help them survive in many ways. Some birds have thick feathers. These feathers protect them like sunscreen. Other birds have colored feathers that match their habitat. These feathers help the bird to hide. Feathers protect birds from the sun, the cold, and predators. So this is a paragraph that we've already worked with. This is the paragraph that they actually provided us. So we basically use this paragraph in reference to write our beaks paragraph. So let's take a look at a little bit closer. So you guys don't have to do anything. You don't have to write this down in your composition notebook, only if you want to. But I've provided the slides and I even found out you can highlight on the slides. So let's take a look at feathers. Let's identify what is the topic sentence. So topic sentence, is it going to come at the top or the bottom of the paragraph? It's going to come at the top. So let's take a look at our topic sentence. Birds' feathers help them survive in many ways. So what do you think this whole paragraph is going to be about? Probably how feathers help who? Them. Who are them? The birds. Feathers help the birds survive. In how many ways? In many ways. So this paragraph is going to tell us in a few different ways how feathers on a bird, feathers like a peacock's feathers, help them survive, right? So let's take a look at our after. Do you guys remember there was topic sentence? What came next? Detail sentences. Remember we had two of those, and then we had two detail sentences and a conclusion. So we've identified the topic sentence. Let's go to our detail sentences. First detail sentence. Some birds have thick feathers. So now they're describing the feathers. They're saying birds' feathers help them survive. So now they're talking about what kind of feathers? Thick feathers. Do you guys remember? Let's actually take a look at the word feathers. Feathers is a noun. It is a person, place, or thing. It's a thing, right? A thing. So some birds have thick feathers. What does thick? What word is thick? What part of speech is thick? We've been talking about this. Some birds have thick feathers. Remember that ice cream cone with a little bit of sprinkles on it? Thick is going to be a descriptive word. It's going to be an adjective. So that adjective is telling us, what are the feathers? Oh, they're thick. They're not thin feathers. They're thick. They're the thick ones. So everybody say adjective. Say thick. Thick is an adjective used to describe what? Feathers, yeah. So some birds have thick feathers. What do you think this next sentence, our next detailed sentence, is going to be about? It's probably going to talk about those thick feathers, right? Let's check. Oh, so some birds have thick feathers. I've also highlighted the second sentence. These feathers, well, actually it's the third sentence, but it's the second detail. So these feathers, what kind of feathers? Thick feathers, thick feathers. These feathers protect them like what? What is that word? Let's break it up. Sun, double E says E. In sunscreen. These feathers protect them like sunscreen. So some birds have thick feathers. These feathers protect them like sunscreen. So what do thick feathers do? Oh, they protect them like sunscreen. They block their bodies so they don't fry. So now let's take a look at so we have our topic sentence. We identified that, our first sentence. We identified the two detailed sentences. So what comes next? 2 more detailed sentences. So it's not the same color green. I did use a different color green. It's a little bit darker. So take a look. Other birds have colored feathers that match their habitat. So other birds have what? Colored feathers. Why? To match their habitat. So sentences break down. They basically tell us everything. We want to know the who, the what, the when, the where, the why, the how. And take a look at this sentence. It's a perfect example. Other birds have colored feathers that match their habitat. So who? Other birds have what? Colored feathers that do what? Match their habitat. So what do you think the next sentence is going to be about? If I were to take a guess, I would say something about matching their habitat, right? Why do they match their habitat? Did they answer that in this sentence? No, they just told us that their colored feathers match their habitat. But why do they need to match their habitat? So take a look. I have now highlighted the second detailed sentence. These feathers help the bird to hide. So hold on, what type of feathers? Did we say thick? No, that was in the first detailed sentence. So what feathers are we talking about here? Oh, look right there, colored feathers. Colored is going to be another adjective. Say adjective. Whisper adjective. Say adjective like a robot. Adjective. Other birds have colored feathers that match their habitat. So colored is describing feathers. In this sentence, we're thinking about what kind of feathers? Colored feathers. Yeah, of course, colored feathers. So take a look. So colored feathers. Look at these peacock feathers. What kind of habitat do you think they live in? Probably a green habitat or a brown habitat. Maybe around them is these colors, so that way it matches them. But I am wearing the male peacock feathers, so that means the males, why are their feathers so bright and beautiful? Because they're going to attract their mate, their partner. They want a girlfriend, and so they have to be beautiful so they can say, hey, lady, look at me. I am large and in charge, and I am beautiful, and I would like for you to spend the rest of your life with me. So let's take a look at that last sentence again. These feathers help the bird to hide. So think about the female birds. Think about when they have their babies. Think about what do they do? What do the ducks do? Remember, they sit into the grass and they hide. And what color were the female ducks? Remember just ducks? What color were the female ducks? They were brown, so that way they could kind of hide with the vegetation on the ground. They weren't beautiful. They weren't like a peacock standing out like, hey, look at me, I got the kids. You want to eat them, Mr. Coyote? No, they were like, I'm going to blend in. My feathers are brown. I'm going to blend in with the ground so that way my kids don't get eaten. Just the cycle of life, friends. Other animals eat other animals' young. So, luckily though, birds have colored feathers to match their habitat. These feathers help the bird hide. So if they're really good hiders, like say they were playing hide and go seek and they got to hide and no one found them, they'd be alive. All right, so we've identified the topic sentence, the 2 detailed sentences, the 2 more detailed sentences. Now what comes at the end? A conclusion sentence. So let's take a look at our conclusion sentence. Feathers protect birds from the sun, the cold, and predators. So what's funny about this, I did not write this paragraph because it says the cold. It doesn't mention anything in this paragraph about the cold. It does say some birds have thick feathers. These feathers protect them like sunscreen. But if they wanted to add cold, they probably should have said, hey, these feathers protect them like sunscreen. And since they are thick enough, they keep the bird warm. If it was up to me, I would cross that off. Because if we just put feathers protect birds from the sun and predators, I would tie up the whole paragraph. So what is the paragraph about? Birds being protected by sun and predators. by their feathers. So their feathers protect the birds from the sun and predators. And that's exactly what it told us. So I'm going, hopefully, oh, actually, after this video, I'm going to reattach the beaks or the Just Ducks book. I want you guys to use those books, listen to them once more, and see. Just keep an eye. Actually, we'll just attach beaks because I want you guys to see. I want you to see the layout. So I want you to see the title and then the paragraph beneath it. So the paragraph beneath it is basically going to tell us about that title. So feathers. What is this paragraph about? Feathers. And notice their topic sentences. Maybe if they have detailed sentence or if they have a conclusion that ties in that sentence with the whole paragraph. Give yourself a pat on the back, friends. Say, you're a rock star. Say, you're awesome.